transforming cheap meat from $1 shoe leather to restaurant quality. Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into the fascinating, kind of crazy culinary science of making absolute budget cuts taste wildly expensive. I mean, we've all been there, right? You're staring at the meat counter, drooling over a beautifully marbled, incredibly expensive cut, and then you glance over at the budget options that look, well, let's just say a little less inspiring. We're going to unpack exactly what happens when you apply high-level science and some totally ingenious everyday hacks to the cheapest cuts available. We've got two wildly different approaches to look at today. One's an extreme boundary-pushing lab experiment on a $1 beefsteak, and the other, a foolproof, practical method for your everyday budget pork steak. Let's get into it. So to set the stage, we're looking at a massive delta in texture and flavor here. On one side, we have a $1 eye of round steak. It is famously tough, ultra lean, and let's be honest, routinely compared to eating actual shoe leather. On the completely opposite end of the spectrum, a $100 Australian Wagyu ribeye, literally the absolute pinnacle of tenderness. It is packed with rich flavor and heavily marbled with this internal fat that just melts right in your mouth. So the ultimate question we're answering is, can we actually bridge this massive gap using science? Section 1, the cheap meat problem. To fix this problem, we've got to understand it first. We are starting with a cut that is practically hostile to the human jaw. If you just pan-sear this $1 cut, you get what we call meat gum. It's a chewy, flavorless piece of cheap steak that stubbornly refuses to break down no matter how long you chew it. It completely lacks internal fat, meaning zero texture and zero flavor. This cut essentially needs some highly calculated scientific intervention just to become edible, let alone delicious. We literally have to alter its physical structure. Which brings us to Section 2, the science of tenderizing. Let's look at the wild, totally experimental lengths we can go to break down those stubborn, tough muscle fibers. The testing breaks these interventions down into three distinct scientific categories. First up, the enzymatic approach. Fruits like kiwi, papaya, and Asian pear contain natural enzymes that actively digest protein molecules. The Asian pear works wonders. It's famously used in Korean barbecue. But the kiwi's enzymes, they are so aggressive, they practically turn the steak into mush. Then we have acidic or chemical approaches. Think lemon juice, buttermilk, or baking soda to alter the meat's pH. And finally, sheer mechanical destruction, just physically breaking the fibers with a mallet, an automatic KitchenAid attachment, or even, yes, they actually tested this, driving over it with a literal car. Unsurprisingly, the KitchenAid excels, while the car is, not exactly recommended for food safety. But here's the thing, not all science experiments actually work out. Take baking soda, for example. It successfully raises the pH and breaks down the muscle fibers, which sounds great for tenderness, right? But listen to this actual reaction from the taste test. Like soggy KFC. Gross, right? Raising the pH completely ruined the flavor profile and the texture of the crust. It turned the outside of the steak into this weird gray, gummy mess. Seltzer water was another massive failure. It created an unchewable, waterlogged disaster that tasted super gamey. Because at the end of the day, tenderness is completely useless if the steak tastes terrible. So it's all about finding that perfect balance. And the surprising, unanimous winner out of 20 different methods? Skip the kiwi mush, skip the baking soda, and definitely skip driving over your dinner. A simple, store-bought powdered tenderizer was the absolute champion. This powder contains salt and bromelain, which is the exact same enzyme found in pineapple. When you apply it as a 5-hour dry brine, it breaks down the proteins beautifully, but keeps the steak's structural integrity perfectly intact. It doesn't mess with the flavor at all, it just makes it phenomenally tender. Section 3, the art of flavor. Okay, so we've essentially solved the texture problem. We have a tender piece of meat, but it's still a lean, totally flavorless eye of round. We have to inject that missing fat and umami right back into it if we want to mimic a premium cut. Let's build out this flavor profile with techniques that actually worked in testing. First, dry brining. The salt pulls moisture out of the surface, which gives you an incredibly superior crispy crust when you sear it. Next up, MSG. It's often misunderstood, but it acts like salt on an entirely different level, providing this clean, massive umami kick that heavily boosts the beefiness. Then we have cold smoking. Using an applewood smoke gun in a closed environment adds a really subtle high-end steakhouse aroma. But the absolute craziest trick? The Botox steak method. By literally injecting melted Wagyu beef tallow deep inside the lean meat with a syringe, you're artificially creating the internal marbling of a $100 steak. Finally, resting the hot finished steak on a bed of herb compound butter lets it soak up all that incredible richness from the bottom up. Section 4. The ultimate Franken Steak. So what actually happens when we stack every single one of these winning techniques onto one piece of cheap meat? Well, we create an absolute culinary masterpiece, what the source calls the ultimate Franken Steak. You're visually stacking an immense amount of time, effort, and science into a piece of meat that cost exactly $1. Step 1. The dry brine and powdered enzyme break down the tough fibers. Step 2. MSG and cold smoke seriously elevate those savory notes. Step 3. That wild Wagyu fat injection adds the missing internal juiciness. And lastly, a butter based in the pan, finishing by resting it on compound butter. This ensures literally every millimeter of the crust is coated in luxury. I know, it's a monumental amount of work, but the verdict? The Franken Steak is incredibly successful. It transforms a practically inedible cut into an experience that easily rivals a $50 steakhouse filet mignon. It's juicy, it's tender, and the flavor is just explosive. But when put up against the $100 Wagyu ribeye, the Wagyu still wins. You simply cannot dethrone the innate, natural perfection of the world's most premium beef. That being said, taking a $1 cut and making it taste like $50 is an undeniable triumph of cooking science for sure. Section 5. The everyday pork steak. Now, injecting hot Wagyu fat and firing up smoke guns is incredibly fun, but let's be real, it's not exactly practical for a quick Tuesday night dinner. So let's funnel this mindset of maximizing a budget cut into a foolproof, everyday recipe from our second source. We're looking at another super budget-friendly cut, the heavily underrated pork steak. And good news, you don't need an elaborate chemistry set here. You just need a standard oven preheated to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. The science here isn't about enzymes, it's all about controlled, moist heat. Before we cook, we obviously need flavor. Pork steaks can be rich, but sometimes a bit one-note, so this specific seasoning blend is designed to provide a perfectly balanced flavor profile without any guesswork on your end. We're talking 1 tablespoon of seasoning salt, a teaspoon of onion powder, a half tablespoon of garlic powder, a teaspoon of dried thyme, and a half teaspoon each of black pepper and paprika. You get deep savory notes, earthy aromatics, and just a hint of warmth. It's simple, but it's perfectly proportioned for that nothing overpowers the pork itself. Now, here is where the everyday science really happens. Step 1, massage the meat with olive oil and Worcestershire sauce. The Worcestershire acts as a binder for our spices while adding its own fermented umami kick. Step 2, season it heavily and top it with fresh sliced onions and bell peppers. But step 3 is absolutely crucial. You must use a half-size aluminum pan and seal it tightly with foil. Why? Because if the pan is too big, the juices spread out and burn. By using a smaller pan and a tight foil lid, you are trapping all the heat and the moisture releasing from the meat and veggies. You're basically creating a natural pressure cooker right inside your oven, braising and tenderizing that tough pork steak over the course of an hour. After an hour, the pork is fully cooked and tender, but it doesn't look quite right just yet. This brings us to the secret weapon. You take the pan out, strain all that incredible flavorful liquid that the foil trapped, and pour it right back over the meat. Then pop it back in the 400-degree oven, but this time leave it uncovered for about 15 to 20 minutes. Without the foil, the dry heat of the oven rapidly evaporates the water in that liquid. This final basting step acts just like our flavor injector from the beef experiment. It rehydrates the meat and thickens those pan juices into a rich, clinging glaze, guaranteeing that literally every single bite is deeply rich and juicy. Section 6. The final verdict. What have we actually learned from looking at these two vastly different approaches? Well, whether you're performing a 30-step lab experiment with bromelain and smoke guns on a piece of beef, or just trapping steam with foil to braise a budget pork steak, the underlying truth is exactly the same. Technique changes absolutely everything. While a $1 cut might not fundamentally beat a luxury steak in a side-by-side taste test, smart, scientifically backed cooking can make absolutely any budget cut taste phenomenal. Which begs the question we're leaving you with today. Can culinary science ever truly replace innate meat quality? Or is great flavor ultimately just about maximizing the potential of what you already have in front of you? Think about that the next time you're at the grocery store. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep experimenting.